Dubro Suspicion Files.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to sift through the noise, the papers, the headlines, the theories, and give you the real story underneath.
Yep. And today, we're tackling a really fascinating one. A cosmic cold case, you could say. The so-called Comet song.
Ah, yes. Comet 67 𝐃𝐈𝐕𝐄. We're zeroing in on that one piece of data from the Rosetta mission that just, well, it went completely viral, didn't it?
It really did. And our mission today, basically, is to figure out why. Why did this natural physical thing, just a tiny magnetic wobble, get instantly tagged as, an alien signal?
It takes us back to a specific moment, doesn't it? November 11th, 2014. Huge pressure.
Immense. The European Space Agency, ESA, they're literally hours away from trying to land Philae on the comet. First time ever.
The whole world is tuned in, like everyone's watching, history in the making.
And right then, peak anticipation. ESA drops this audio file.
Calls it a mysterious song, describes it as this weird rhythmic vibration their orbiter Rosetta picked up.
Yeah, a bit dramatic maybe, but effective.
Okay, but let's get technical straight off the bat, because this wasn't sound like we think of sound, right? No air in space.
Exactly, not acoustic sound. The instruments pick up a magnetic oscillation, a fluctuation. Really, really slow.
How slow?
Between 40 and 50 millihertz. It's thousands of times lower than anything a human ear could possibly detect. Way, way down there.
So you couldn't hear it if you were floating right next to it?
Not a chance. It's like watching tectonic plates move. The movement's real, measurable, but way too slow to perceive as sound.
So how did we end up hearing it then, the audio file they released?
Ah, that's the key part. They had to translate that data. They performed this huge manipulation. They sped the recording up 10,000 times.
10,000 times, wow.
Yeah, and doing that, taking that ultra-low frequency vibration and accelerating it like crazy, that resulted in the audio file everyone heard.
The one with the sort of creepy clicks and whispers?
That's the one. Deep pulses, rhythmic clicks. And because ESA released it right then, calling it a mystery song, well, the question just exploded globally.
Was the comet singing? Was this it? First contact?
The Philae whisper idea was born right there, just like that.
Okay, before we go any further, we absolutely have to clear something up. There were two sounds from this mission that often get mixed up, right?
Crucial point, yes. The first sound, the one we're digging into, is that 40-50 millihertz magnetic signal. That came from the Rosetta orbiter's instruments.
Specifically, the Rosetta Plasma Consortium, or RPC, their magnetometer.
Correct. Detecting magnetic field changes. The second sound came a few days later.
That was the actual thump.
Yeah, the physical thud of the Philae lander hitting the comet surface. That was recorded by a totally different instrument on the lander itself. Sesame cast.
Right, the acoustic sensor, basically. Measuring physical vibration.
Exactly. So, two different things. We were only focused on that first one. The steady, rhythmic magnetic signal from the orbiter captured in space.
And the science behind that signal is now, pretty much settled, peer review.
Oh yeah, fully explained. No real scientific mystery left there.
So, if the science got sorted, why the enduring mystery? Why did it blow up into this global what if?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. It boils down to how and when it was revealed. Pure PR genius, really.
Timing.
Timing was everything. Our sources, the papers, they confirm ESA's instruments clearly picked up this signal way back in August 2014.
August, but they released it in November.
Exactly. Rosetta arrived at 67P in August. The comet started getting active, and they detected the signal then, clearly.
But they held on to it for 3 whole months.
They waited. They chose November 11th, literally the day before the landing attempt. They knew the world wasn't just watching scientists, space fans, but every news outlet, every social media platform.
Maximum eyeballs.
Precisely. It was a calculated move to leverage that global focus. Release this weird audio, call it a mystery from space, don't offer an immediate, simple soundbite explanation.
And you create this vacuum, an interpretive vacuum.
Perfect term for it. They basically threw this unexplained thing out there and let the world run wild with it.
It's like saying, hey, we've got this incredible historic mission happening. Somebody make it even more exciting.
And the internet obliged. Enthusiastically.
The speculation didn't waste any time, did it? Went straight for the extreme.
Instantly. The main claim that really caught fire online seemed to come from this alleged whistleblower email. Got published on a site, UFOsightingsdaily.com.
Right, and these weren't 𝐃𝐄𝐄𝐏 theories.
Not at all. Forget interesting sound. Claim 1, Comet 67P. It's not a comet. It's an alien object. some kind of disguised ship.
Okay, bold start. What else?
Claim to. NASA apparently knew about this for 20 years, detected radio bursts from it decades ago, and the surface showed machine-like parts, unnatural terrain.
So therefore?
Therefore, this song they just released, obviously it's a greeting from the aliens inside their Comet ship.
It's a narrative, all right, a very compelling one for some. But what's really insightful here isn't just the claim, it's why that kind of claim finds fertile ground.
Exactly. This plugs right into a known cognitive bias, proportionality bias.
Explain that. Proportionality bias.
It's our deep-seated need as humans for the cause of an event to feel like it matches the scale of the event. Big event must be a big cause.
We don't like it when something huge happens because of something small or mundane.
We really struggle with that. Think about the Rosetta mission itself. Huge undertaking, right?
Massive, decades in the making, billions of euros, international collaboration, thousands of brilliant people working on it.
And the official scientific reason, study comet dust and ice, learn about the solar system's origins, which is, incredibly important scientifically.
No, to the public, maybe it feels a bit small, anticlimactic compared to the sheer effort and cost, like billions just for dirty ice.
That's the proportionality gap right there. The official cause feels disproportionately small compared to the monumental effect, the mission itself.
This bias explains a lot of conspiracy thinking, doesn't it? Like the JFK assassination example.
Classic example. The idea that one lone, sort of insignificant guy, Lee Harvey Oswald, could single-handedly change world history. It just feels wrong to many people. Psychologically unsatisfying.
So the cause doesn't feel proportional to the effect.
Exactly. So believing in a massive, coordinated conspiracy involving powerful groups, that feels more proportional to the assassination of a president. The cause matches the scale of the event.
So back to Comet 67P, the idea that ESA and NASA spent all this time and money because they were secretly tracking an alien ship?
That feels psychologically much more satisfying. Suddenly, the enormous effort makes sense in a grand, dramatic way. Secret alien contact that's a cause big enough for a multi-billion-dollar mission.
It bridges that gap, makes the story feel epic, cinematic, worthy of the investment.
It's a powerful, intoxicating narrative, but narratives eventually have to confront the actual physics.
Okay, let's pivot then. The science. The counter-argument from the ESA scientists. What's the absolute basic truth we need to grasp?
The fundamental point, the one we started with but needs repeating, this is an acoustic sound, period.
Right. No air, no sound waves. You can't hear in space.
So the instruments weren't hearing sound. They were detecting electromagnetic waves, specifically tiny changes in the magnetic field around the comet.
And this wasn't some lingering mystery for scientists, despite the PR spin.
Not really. The whole mechanism was laid out, publicly peer-reviewed, less than a year later, August 2015, in a journal called NASA's Geophysicae. It's all there.
Okay. Let's do this properly then. This is the core, the scientific aha. Walk us through the physics step by step. How does a comet make a magnetic field oscillate at 40-50 millihertz?
All right, 5 key steps. Let's build the picture. Step 1, heat. Simple enough. Comet 67P flies closer to the sun, it warms up.
And ice turns to gas, sublimation.
Exactly. Water molecules mostly, but other gases too, stream off the comet's surface out into space, creates the coma, the comet's atmosphere.
You entered comet behavior. Got it. Step 2.
Step 2, ionization. That neutral gas cloud streaming off the comet immediately gets blasted by intense ultraviolet radiation from the sun.
Rips electrons off the molecules.
Precisely. Strips them right off. Turns the neutral gas into electrically charged particles, ions and electrons. This electrically charged gas is what we call plasma.
So the comet is now enveloped in this cloud of charged plasma it created itself.
Correct. Which leads to step 3, interaction. This new cloud of cometary plasma slams into, or rather interacts violently with, the solar wind.
Which is also plasma, right? Streaming from the sun.
Yes, the solar wind is the sun's own outflow. A constant, high-speed hurricane of charged particles and magnetic fields blowing outwards through the solar system, hundreds of kilometers per second.
So 2 plasmas colliding, comet plasma meets solar wind plasma.
And that collision, that interaction, is where the magic happens. Step 4, and this is absolutely critical, it creates an induced cometary magnetosphere.
Induced, meaning the comet itself isn't magnetic.
Exactly. The comet nucleus has no significant magnetic field of its own, not like Earth. The magnetic field around it is temporary and created by this interaction.
How? How does that interaction create a field?
Think of the solar wind carrying its own magnetic field lines. When it hits the dense cloud of new plasma from the comet, those field lines kind of pile up, drape around the comet, get distorted. It's like a magnetic traffic jam. This process induces a temporary magnetic bubble around the comet.
Okay, so the field isn't from the comet. It's formed around the comet by the solar wind hitting the comet's plasma.
You got it. And now the final step, step 5, the payoff. The newly created plasma streaming off the comet has to move through this newly induced magnetic field.
Right.
As it does this, it sets up something called an unstable cross-field electric current.
Cross-field, meaning moving across the magnetic lines.
Exactly. Charged particles prefer to spiral along magnetic field lines. Think of them like cars on a highway. But here, the outflowing cometary plasma is forcing these charged particles to move across or perpendicular to the magnetic field lines draped around the comet.
Like trying to drive sideways across the highway lanes.
Good analogy. It creates immense stress and instability within the magnetic field itself. The field lines resist being pushed across.
And that stress makes the field shake.
That stress, that instability and the current flowing across the field lines causes the magnetic field lines to literally vibrate, to oscillate. And the frequency of that oscillation.
Let me guess. 40 to 50 millihertz.
Bingo. Precisely 40 to 50 millihertz. That physical shaking of the magnetic field is what the RPC magnetometer detected.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense. It's not the comet singing. It's the magnetic environment around the comet vibrating because of this plasma interaction.
Right. The scientists used a great analogy. A garden hose. Turn the water on, suddenly that's the plasma flow, and the hose itself starts to shake and wobble erratically.
The hose is the magnetic field, the water is the plasma.
Perfect. And this wasn't just, oh, we figured out the noise. This specific mechanism, this particular type of oscillation at this frequency, it was actually a new observation in cometary science.
Really? They hadn't seen this exact thing before.
They knew interactions happened, of course. But this precise mechanism, different from what they saw at, say, Halley's Comet, was genuinely exciting for plasma physicists. It was a new example of a fundamental space physics process, real science gold.
But for the public, thanks to the timing and the name, it stayed a song, a whisper.
Yep. Which brings us back to the human side. The physics is clear now. So why did we perceive it as a song? A voice, a pattern.
Back to psychology.
Right. Specifically 2 concepts, patternicity and auditory pareidolia.
Patternicity, that's Michael Shermer's idea, right? Our evolutionary drive to find patterns, even in random noise.
That's the one. Our ancestors who saw predator shape in the rustling leaves, even if it was just wind, they were more likely to survive than the ones who waited for absolute proof. So we evolved to be pattern-seeking machines. Our brains crave patterns, agency, intention.
Better safe than, sorry, evolutionarily speaking.
Exactly. And auditory pareidolia is just patternicity applied to sound.
Hearing voices in static, music in random noise, messages and records played backwards, that kind of thing. Like seeing faces in clouds, but for your ears.
Precisely. So when our pattern-hungry brain is presented with this genuinely weird, complex data, a repetitive but not perfectly simple electromagnetic wave from space, what does it do?
It defaults to the nearest familiar pattern it knows. Rhythm, pulse, voice, song.
It imposes order onto the ambiguous stimulus. But there's one more piece. The real smoking gun that made the song interpretation so compelling. The technical process itself. Sonification.
The translation process. This is crucial. It wasn't a recording. It was data turned into sound.
Emphatically. It was a translation. And the sources are clear. ESA even acknowledged it was partly an artistic act. The audio file credits German composer Manuel Senft for compiling it.
So human interpretation was baked in from the start. It wasn't raw data playback.
Definitely not. And the math of that translation sealed the deal, making it sound artificial. Let's revisit the numbers.
Okay. Original signal, 40 millihertz, which is 0.04 cycles per second. Takes 25 seconds for one beat.
Right. Inaudible. To make it audible, they sped it up 10,000 times. So 40 millihertz times 10,000.
400 hertz.
Exactly 400 hertz. Now 400 hertz isn't just some random frequency. It's smack bang in the middle of the human hearing range. It's a recognizable musical note.
Which note?
It's G-sharp 4. Right there in the middle of a piano keyboard. A clear, single pitch.
So the act of speeding it up by that specific factor landed the data perfectly on a musical note.
Pretty much. That 10,000x transposition was the key. If the original oscillation had been slightly different, say 43.7 millihertz, the result after speeding up would have been slightly off-key, maybe sounded less clean or intentionally rhythmic.
But landing right on G-sharp 4 gave it that musical, almost artificial quality that made our pattern-seeking brains go, aha, that sounds deliberate.
Precisely. The song-like quality wasn't inherent in the comet's plasma physics. It was an artifact introduced by the massive 13-octave upward transposition needed to make it audible at all. We heard a single data point reflecting the plasma's rhythm shifted into our hearing range right onto a familiar note.
Okay, so explanation 1, aliens singing at 40 millihertz on a secret spaceship comet. Explanation 2, natural magnetic field vibrations caused by plasma physics sped up 10,000 times, landing coincidentally on G#4.
Yeah, Occam's razor points pretty strongly to number 2. It's simpler, fits the evidence, entirely explained by known physics.
But the mystery narrative persisted, so we have to ask, cui bono? Who benefited from keeping the alien song idea alive?
Well, let's look at the proponent of the alien theory we mentioned, Scott Waring from UFO Sightings Daily. His whole platform is kind of built on this stuff, isn't it?
Looking at his track record,
Yep.
finding monkeys on Mars, Atlantis, alien moon bases, and official photos, there's a definite pattern.
And the psychological research on this kind of hidden truth-seeking is interesting. It often involves, as one paper puts it, defending a fragile ego by perceiving oneself as important.
By becoming the hero, the one smart enough to see the cover-up that the powerful agencies are trying to hide.
Exactly. You're not just passively consuming info, you're actively uncovering secrets, battling suppression. It's a very validating narrative for the individual, and it builds a following.
Okay, so the theorist gets psychological reward, status, content. Who else benefits?
Well, this whole episode created this perfect feedback loop, a symbiotic information ecosystem, you might say.
A win-win-win, where the truth loses.
Pretty much. Yeah. Look, 1, ESA wins. They get massive global headlines, huge public interest in their mission, right when they needed it most for the landing.
Okay.
The mystery song was PR gold.
Okay.
2, the conspiracy theorists win. They get validation, traffic, status within their communities by decoding the alien signal and exposing the alleged cover-up.
And 3,
the mainstream media wins. Huge engagement, reporting the mystery, the controversy, the alien song theories that drives clicks, views, shares, like crazy. Way more than a dry physics explanation.
They eventually report the science, maybe, but months later when the clicks have died down.
Often, yeah. The controversy itself is the profitable part. So everyone in the loop benefits. The only casualty is that complex, nuanced, slightly boring, and definitely unclickable scientific truth about plasma interactions.
So we can basically close the case file on the Philae whisper. Natural magnetic wobble, pattern-seeking brain, sonification artifact landing on G#4.
That sums it up nicely.
But to really understand why this matters, maybe we need a counterexample. What would a genuinely mysterious signal look like? Something that isn't easily explained away.
The perfect comparison. We need to talk about the wow signal.
From 1977, it's almost the exact inverse of the Comet song story, isn't it?
Completely. The Comet song, we insisted an explained natural phenomenon was artificial. The wow signal. We have an unexplained phenomenon that perfectly fits the technical profile of an artificial signal.
Yeah.
But silence.
Yeah, the Comet song was constant, seen for months, tied to the comet's activity. The wow
is the ultimate astronomical ghost. Still unexplained after, 47 years now?
Yeah.
A true mystery.
What makes it so different, so compellingly weird compared to 67P's signal? 3 main reasons.
Yep, 3 big ones. First, duration and uniqueness.
Right. 67P's signal was there as long as the interaction was happening. Months. Wow.
Signal. Detected once. August 15th, 1977. For about 72 seconds. And then nothing. Gone. Vanished. Despite decades of looking at that exact spot in Sagittarius with much better telescopes, that transient nature is hugely significant.
Appearing and disappearing like that doesn't sound like a typical natural cosmic source.
But generally, no.
Yeah.
Which leads to reason 2. The technical hallmarks. What did the signal actually look like to the radio telescope?
The bigger telescope, right?
Correct. And this is maybe the biggest scientific clue. Most natural radio sources in space, pulsars, quasars, gas clouds, they emit noise across a wide range of frequencies. They're broadband.
Like radio static. Covers lots of frequencies.
Exactly. But our technology, TV broadcasts, radar, satellite communications tends to be narrowband. Highly focused on one specific narrow frequency, like tuning into a single radio station.
And the wow signal was
intensely narrowband, extremely focused. That's a hallmark of engineered technology, not typically found in natural cosmic emitters. It looked artificial in its very structure.
Wow. Okay, that's compelling. Reason 3.
Source reliability in the frequency context. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds.
Which wasn't random.
Not at all. That was precisely how long the bigger telescope, which used Earth's rotation to scan the sky, would take to observe a fixed point in space as it drifted through the telescope's beam.
So the duration matched the observation window perfectly, as if something fixed out there passed through the view.
And it wasn't just on-off. The signal strength smoothly rose as the source came into view, peaked, and then smoothly faded as it moved out of view. A perfect Gaussian curve.
Which is exactly what you'd expect from a distant fixed transmitter being scanned by the telescope.
It points very strongly to something fixed, far away, outside our solar system, broadcasting.
And the final piece, the frequency itself.
The most tantalizing bit. The frequency was 1420.4556 megahertz,
Right.
which is incredibly close to the neutral hydrogen line frequency, 420.4058 megahertz.
Hydrogen, most common element, the theoretical cosmic water cooler frequency where everyone might tune in, the universal dialing code.
That's the hypothesis. Any civilization wanting to signal across the galaxy might choose that fundamental frequency of hydrogen as a common channel everyone would recognize. The WOW signal was right next door to it.
So putting it all together, the Comet song was natural, constant, explained, but we wanted it to be artificial.
And the WOW signal has all the technical markers of being artificial narrowband, fixed source profile, unique occurrence near the hydrogen line, but it remains utterly unexplained and unrepeated.
One case shows how easily our brains invent a song from noise. The other shows how hard it is to be sure when something might actually be a song hidden in the noise.
Yeah, so the Comet 67P file is closed, magnetic vibrations sped up 10,000 times, interpreted by pattern-seeking brains, amplified by a sonification choice, landing on G#4.
And the whole thing fueled by a media ecosystem that thrives on mystery more than complex explanation.
That's the story.
So the final thought to leave everyone with, this Comet song was really the sound of physics working itself out. What does it tell us about ourselves, about the human condition, that we find complex plasma interactions? Well, less satisfying, less compelling than the idea of a secret alien ship.
And maybe, thinking about the WOW signal, how many potentially real signals, maybe ultra-slow ones like 67P's original vibration, are just sitting there in the data, dismissed as noise, simply because we haven't thought to speed them up 10,000 times yet? What else might be hidden in the static?